from Newton, Massachusetts for the week of March 30th, 2026. This is the Lemma Journal Club weekly update. Featured papers of this week. How do RNA molecules distinguish self and non-self? By Ofer Kimchi and last authors Ned Wingreen and Liz Gavis.
Perling drives mitochondrial DNA nucleoid distribution. First author Juan C. Ladoni with last author Suliana Manley.
We will probably cover this in an actual journal club soon.
Long anticipated.
Yeah. Synthetic budding morphogenesis by optogenetic receptor tyrosine kinase signaling. First author is Louis Prahl, who has taken a position recently at CU Boulder. And last author is Alex Hughes from UPenn. Pretty excited for this paper.
Active assembly and non-reciprocal dynamics of elastic membranes.
Congratulations, everybody. John Beresny, Slavik Ray, Inema Colvin, Fritjof, Sihan, Mark, Seth, Vincenzo, and Zvladimir. We'll definitely do this one for Journal Club as well in the immediate future. This is if you haven't seen this before, this is a cool system.
Yeah, very cool.
Phase transport by polar active transport. Phase separation by polar active transport by a bunch of people, including Manuel Theory, is why it's on the featured list. And it slightly touches on my PhD work, so it's fairly exciting to see.
Image reconstruction from an elastically disordered scan with Maha as the last author.
So this is now the 9th week in a row that a Maha paper has been, and this week there are 2 Maha papers. So we might need to start filtering out Maha. He's publishing too much. The next paper is Developmental Organization of Sensory and Sympathetic Ganglia. There are a million people on this paper, but the reason why it's on this list is Melanie White's contribution with the quail. So I'm pretty excited for going through this paper, although we probably won't do it for Journal Club.
The last author, Gleason, is that a Celeste progeny?
I don't think so.
Okay. Programmable kinetic barcoding for multiplexed RNA detection with Cas13a.
It's an interesting paper. This is Jennifer Doudna and Daniel Fletcher on the same paper. Pretty exciting. Again, probably not going to be a Journal Club, but something that you might want to go check out on your own. The next paper is Chick gonad explant electroporation reveals enhancers for testes determining factor DMRT1. Okay, it's not a biophysics paper. It's on here though because of Ganesh, and congratulations, Ganesh.
Next we have surface wakes on ultra soft solids. This is a second Maha paper.
Yeah, this is the one where I'm like, it's too many. Like if he's publishing more than one paper per week, we gotta start being picky with our Maha papers. Give him like some cap per month. The next paper is Genetic Interfaces at the Frontier of Expanding Microbial Colonies. This is the rare David Nelson paper, so pretty exciting.
Then we have fitting coarse-grained models to macroscopic experimental data via automatic differentiation. More Harvard, Michael Brenner.
Yeah, Harvard is showing up strong this week with some pretty interesting papers. And the final featured paper of the week is Pneumatic Cell Alignment, directs calcium waves in an epithelial monolayer. And
This one's from Brandeis. Michael Norton is on the paper, as well as Hannah Yevik, last author.
All right, so now some papers. We've got 20-something papers this week. It was a pretty hard week. A lot of people got shoved off of the some papers list. So the first one is Elasticity and Plasticity of Epithelial Gap Closure. It's a Pierre Haas paper where we go back and forth on whether Pierre should be a featured author or not.
He's coming through regardless. Noisy dynamical systems evolve error-correcting codes and modularity.
The next paper is, and it feels like a typo, From Scattered to Focused, Task-Dependent Connectivity in Honeybees with Midge Swarms and Bird Flocks. But the width shouldn't be there, but the paper is already published, so, seems like an interesting paper despite the typo in the title.
Dynamic switching of cell substrate contact sites allows gliding diatoms to modulate the curvature of their paths.
So this is a Stefan Dietz paper. I actually opened up this paper and looked through it a little bit. It's super cool. The reason why Stefan Dietz is not a featured author is because there's two Stefan Dietzes, and I cannot get them to be separated by OrcID successfully. And one of them I really like, and one of them I really don't like. So just manually collecting Stefan Dietz papers for now. The next paper is Specialized High-Capacity Mitochondria Fuel Cell Invasion. This is something that I'm excited about, that there's localized ATP required for basement membrane penetration.
Informational memory shapes collective behavior in intelligent swarms.
Yeah, seems exciting. Again, there's a bunch of swarming papers and a bunch of information papers this week. Thermodynamic signatures of sensing and amplification by periodically driven hair cell bundles to go along with our recent cilia discussions.
Yeah, this one I'm intrigued, but skeptical.
There's Florian on it. Okay, anyways.
Microwave scattering signatures for distinguishing healthy and infested date palm trees.
We'll never read it, but that sounds so cool. Very cool. Fluorescence-based mapping of condensate dielectric permittivity uncovers hydrophobicity-driven membrane interactions.
Then we have control of lumen morphology by lateral and basal cell surfaces, another Pierre Haas paper. So maybe we have to cap Pierre as well.
Yeah, trying to compete with Maha for most papers per month. And then there's rounded hard squares confined in a circle, and it's about entropic forces of colloids that are square with rounded corners.
The intensity countoscope, measuring particle dynamics in real space from microscopy images.
We had a little conversation about this paper, so we know the answer, but think about how could that be different from a normal microscope? High symmetry, ill-fitting subunits in 3D form aggregates of all dimensions. It's by Martin Lenz, is the last author.
In vivo entropy production of a Subaru.
The animal, I guess, not just a Subaru that somebody bought. It's actually pretty, looks like it's going to be an interesting paper about energy consumption of a macroscopic system. Force geometry and irreversibility in non-equilibrium dynamics.
Then we have strain stiffening critical exponents of fiber networks under uniaxial deformation. And Fred McIntosh is on this paper.
Right. We have quantitative mapping of dynamic 3D transport in growing cells via volumetric spatiotemporal image correlation spectroscopy, which could be cool depending on how much experiment they have in it.
Unidirectional flow from continuous broken symmetries.
This is an Elena Catafori paper. Catafori. And then the limits of scaling in aggregation-driven patterning of cell collectives.
And our final paper for some papers is analysis of motor-based transport in primary cilia by dynamic mode decomposition of live cell imaging data.
So there are about 50, 60 more papers. It's actually a small week for how many papers were published. This is on BezierLemma.com/Lemma Journal Club/March 30th, 2026. If you want to go see it, you can probably just go to BezierLemma.com. And you can see all the papers that we didn't choose, as well as the previous weeks.
And judge us for it.
If you have comments on how this review could be more helpful each week, let us know. We're having a lot of fun. Well, it's actually a pain to make, but we're learning a lot from making it.
Yeah.
So next week, bye.